they couldn't make it happen when they needed it the most. Of course, they are not out yet, but losing to G2 in such a manner can't be good for the troops. And we have some people here to talk about that performance. We have two of the Vitality Rising Vs, top laner Crow and mid laner Tifa. It must hurt a little bit, I guess, to have to talk about this game, right?
It's tough.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I get it. Maybe let's start with the draft. Did you like it?
Yeah, I like the draft from both sides, but I have to say for Vitality, they need to survive the early game a bit. Karthus needs to get to scale, to farm up, and at the same time for G2, they have a Maokai, he's better at ganking, shadowing. Yeah, and sadly, they didn't get to farm up, and it snowballed in the wrong direction for Vitality.
Sure did.
Yeah, like they did the job correctly. G2 in early, pressuring bot, pressuring top. They didn't let Vitality breathe, and after this, like it was kind of late to come back after.
I mean, it's kind of the issue here when you look at the composition on the side of Vitality is that you want to be proactive and you want to get the action going in the early game, but I do feel like G2 Esports composition can play really, really well against that. And then it feels like when it comes to the mid game, I feel like Vitality had a lot of tools and a lot of damage that could make them shine, but G2 did not let them any opportunity to do so. What happened later?
I mean, later it was just about the early snowball. Like Vitality did kind of great things. They was cross mapping, getting turrets one by one, like getting some catch on Corki, for example, on site. But sadly, G2 was too much in place, and they couldn't do much about it.
Yeah, it was. I think it was really hard to watch, particularly this moment, because unfortunately, sometimes that spells things we see from Vitality quite often.
I mean, that's the thing. They don't have the 2v2 bot lane. And top lane, Crow, explain to me what could have happened here, because I feel like Photon can do stuff in the early game, because you know that Gragas is going to come back after that.
Yeah, like Renekton has to do something in early game. Like Gragas is really good against Renekton. It's a really good counter. And sadly, he lost too much HP in early. He wanted to trade. He wanted to make the difference in early. And I mean, Yak was here to just stop it. And,
yeah, Yak was doing a phenomenal job, and as you spelled out, they couldn't really have anything happen in the early game or get the ball rolling for Vitality. Tifa, when you find yourself in that position with your team, what is the way to combat this, knowing that you see that snowball coming your way?
I mean, don't show the team with your voice you give up. Keep the spirit high, say encouraging words, try to go for some cross maps. If you see a moment, don't hesitate, go for it, else you lost anyway. So just go in.
Yeah, okay, I love it.
And that's actually what we saw here. When you look at this replay, Vitality tried to get some cross map going, but that's what we saw on the map. There was such a really, really good vision on the side of G2 that even though you can take place cross map, try and take the tier 2 on the top lane, it's never going to be enough, because you're never going to be able to come back on the map after this.
No, unfortunate. We were watching the game together, and Crow, you said, oh, we sometimes have trouble closing out games, so maybe G2 will fail too. Is that a thing that happens with the Rising Beast?
It happens sometimes, yes.
No.
I mean, like it's really the hard part of the game. Sometimes you are really ahead and you have to close it, and it's hard to do it. But G2 are way more professional, and they know what to do. You know?
Sometimes they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tifa Caps is our Kia player of the game. He gets hit a lot. He's a pretty good player, right?
I love Caps, he's so fun.
Is he like your, one of your inspirations, or?
Yes, he was. He's my favorite player, yeah.
But you're, of course, better Ahri, probably, right?
Oh.
Caps, 1v1 win.
Okay, I love it. Laure, just to close us out here, Vitality, it isn't over yet, but I feel like this is one of those games where it shows what we've been frustrated about with Vitality for the entire split.
I mean, that's the thing. We've been frustrated with them for a lot of games now, and I feel like when it comes to being under pressure, these people and these players need to step in, and I'm not sure that they're going to be able to. Tomorrow is going to be the last chance for them. I'm not convinced from what we saw today, so fingers crossed for them.
Friendship with Vitality ended. I'm now in friendship with the Vitality Rising Bees instead. We do have our next match coming up, and KC, they actually already locked playoffs, so it couldn't be any better for them.
And great segment, guys. That was fantastic. Yeah, so I'm here today with Odo. We're going to talk a bit about the stakes at hand, or rather the lack of stakes. KC, with that G2 win, have actually locked in playoffs already. It's been a bit of a bumpy road, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. The faithfuls are here, they're rewarded, you know. It's been a whole year of KC struggling, making changes, coming into the summer split. And right now, it kind of takes up a little bit away of the stakes from this game, but they still have a lot to play. I'm not so concerned about what happened before summer split over here, because after this, it's not hard. It's not easy to begin 3 new players with Canna, Closer, and Vladi. We see a lot of teams opting for a more subtle change.
Yeah, it's a lot of different changes, I feel like, though. Yes, it's only coaching staff changes at the start, but I feel like you played against these rosters. Did you notice any differences, big differences, as you saw the change and the timeline?
Not really, because as a player, it's really hard to notice change in player playstyle, even with like one new coach. But for me, the thing that I'm really excited here is Summer Corp. They played 28 out of 35 different champions across all of their games. So for me, that shows that they're trying a lot of things all over the place. And when the stars align, we see moments like Targamas, the way he had yesterday. He found great engages with Rahel everywhere. He was very patient, working very well with the team all over the map, and overall it was just a joy to see.
So their uniqueness is a good thing, unless it's too unique and they're playing too many champions. But these engages, I gotta agree with you. Targamas, a player that gets a lot of criticism, I feel like did really well in the series against Vitality.
Yeah, definitely. He was the man who stepped up the most, and as you said, when you're a top team with a lot of unique picks, it makes you stand out very much. But when you're a team that is in the middle of the pack, you sometimes need a little bit of stability. So I'm really curious what they're gonna show us today.
Well, you heard it here first. KC already in, but they're playing for the glory here for taking home this game. Now, we're going to toss it over to the casters for the next game of the day.
And it's going to be a banger. Congratulations to KC, by the way. We didn't get to say it before, but 3 wins made playoffs. Hell yeah, come on. Yeah, over there, they're very excited, very excited, the fans.
So they haven't made playoffs. They have guaranteed themselves a tiebreaker. So...
Okay.
Very
congratulations anyway. It doesn't matter. I mean, getting 3 wins already. I want to congratulate them on the fact of fixing their winter, fixing their spring. Right? That's the biggest thing as well, especially a win here to make yourself push yourself up, right? Because again, KC have worked it a lot over this year with the new roster that's come in through this split with Vladi, Closer, Canna coming through. These are big or upstanding names that have come up in the scene. Vladi especially is excited for. Let's see how they go against SK, who brought in no names in the bottom lane and have become big stars.
There is definitely a winning formula for Karmine Corp though, which is Closer on these early aggressive playmaking champions like the Vi, the Rek'Sai, where he can get involved, get some kills early for Karmine Corp, and then having upset on these more late game scaling champions. Like 3 of those wins that they have, 2 of them are on Aphelios and Jinx, and one of them was on a Kai'Sa game where he got fed to all hell, right?
Yep.
So you kind of need this early aggression to get upset rolling to then bring it forward. But no Rek'Sai ban. I'm curious if Closer falls back to that, as he's looked great on it.
I mean, again, look at Rek'Sai as well. They've also taken away the Maokai, so that option's at least minimized as Upset goes back towards the Zeri. And I say that, but he hasn't actually played at this split. More so maybe a takeaway from what's been strong in the meta. Azir for Vladi, though. That is something I've seen him on at EMEA Masters as well. So comfort pick so far, it feels like here, as Lucian, Nami bottom lanes don't often get seen. The virus is open, Dagda, and they're like, nah, we're going back to an L Classic.
I mean, they've looked very strong in this combo and have been one of the teams that can definitely play it very well. And with a Maokai to try and play off of that pressure in the mid lane, it kind of works out pretty sweet for SK if they can get that rolling. But on Karmine Corp side, we kind of talked about, hey, we want some early aggressive playmaking or someone that can fight early. Well, Zhao definitely fits that bill for Closer. So going to be keeping our eyes to see how this works with him trying to link up with Canna, link up with Upset in these early stages to get the ball rolling for KC.
Well, as you look towards the bans here, it starts with the Renekton up in top side. No top laners picked just yet for either side. And I will say as well, no, I'm not going to say it. Dagda, I was going to mention. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't. We've seen Lucian's mid a lot, but with Nami, like, bro, why would you ever take that carrying? That's like taking away, Senna Lucian, husband and wife. That's a pity. You can't do that. It's like taking Tim Tams away from someone like me. It's like taking a spice bag away from an Irish person. That's the equivalent.
True. That is true. You never touch it.
They are good. If you haven't been to Ireland and haven't had a spice bag, man, there's a lot going on in there, but you get used to it.
But according to Eragon's chat on Welsh, so it doesn't really matter. But for Karmine Corp, as we start to come into this, the Camille being banned away from Canna has worked out quite well for him. I mean, Canna has literally played a unique champion every single game, so maybe brings out something new, but I definitely think having him on something that can get past the laning phase and then have that big impact seems to work. And this is not where I expected this to go.
There were boos straight away. No one likes the cat. Bro, guys, if you haven't
Lulu's better.
If you haven't played Swarm yet, would recommend. But But yo, Yuumi is with you a lot of the time, so you're going to get used to it anyway. At least start now. As on the other side for SK, they're thinking about what they can pair up in the top side. Do we need hard engaged Dagda? We've got the Maokai already. We've got Nami as partial engage. Like, what fits?
I don't think you need like super hard engage, but definitely something that provides CC. Gnar does fit the bill, but Gnar isn't something that I traditionally look forward to in that top side initially, because I think there's a lot of counter picks you can go for, especially when it is Canna. He's been very good at taking things like the Jason, the pass. I mean, he has the Jax can work relatively well into it. But you can also go for something like a Kennen if you want to, up in that top side. It can work out well, and then provide another engage to it for Karmine Corp. But I am curious what their game plan is here for Karmine Corp, because you definitely need something that can do well against the Gnar, but also be that engage tool, because Yuumi's ultimate, don't forget, doesn't stun anymore. It just provides the slow.
Very, very true. It's changed. I mean, yeah, despite the Yuumi days, Taliyah gets locked in. I mean, this feels like a very side lane heavy laning phase. Like, let's get the ball rolling for SK. On the other side, we've already got a lot of scaling on KC. They're going to try and play this as slow as possible. Cassante on R5 feels like the perfect roundup. Dagda's why are you cringing, Dagda?
I just don't like that you have no guarantee to CC, like, engage. What's your go button on KC?
Malphite would have been better.
Something along those lines, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, we can just go for the setup. We can get Zeri into these fights. But at the moment, it's kind of like, hey, Vladi, if you could do us a favor and send yourself in to get some sort of five-man shuffle.
The rookie one,
yeah. It's like, that's the only way I see them really starting fights here. So I'm kind of confused as to what Karmine Corp really wanted to go with, especially seeing the Yuumi coming into the mix. But it means that for SK, I think you have a very clear way of playing out this game. It's, hey, let's put some pressure on towards bot lane, put upset behind, and then we can start to play out through great side laning, a strong mid lane off of that Lucian Nami with a Maokai, just kind of
It makes sense for SK, doesn't it? As you said, writes itself. I love that, because Rahel and Luon have been pivotal. In the early game, they get a lead. This bot lane can carry. I think right now they are the best bot lane in the league. People over Fnatic might disagree with me. People who start supporting G2 again.
I think you're right.
I think mechanically they are the best. On the other side for KC, Upset and Targamas got a lot to do in this game to scale up. Now, I want to clarify something said before. KC aren't 100% in, but as Dagda said, they're guaranteed a tiebreak at bare minimum. But even if they lost both games over the weekend, they're still
guaranteed.
66%.
We've just been confirmed. They are guaranteed.
100%?
Yeah.
We've got lots of foldy sheets. We folded the wrong angle. But yeah, there you go. I mean, look, guaranteed. Now it's just about how far they can go. The second important matter I have to tick off my list, there's a gentleman in the audience with a Dun Dun shirt from Nongshim. Now, props to that guy. Never in my life did I think I would come to the LEC and see someone wearing a Dun Dun shirt. Like, in what world? There's Nongshim fans? That's crazy. Now let's hear it for SK. All right, SK and KC. Hear it for KC, I should say, on the other side. I can't believe they made playoffs. Or I can't believe SK have looked this strong over the split. And overall, we're hoping this is going to be a banger. Scaling on one side, bot dynamics on the other. Get the ball rolling for SK. It hasn't been very hard. But he's got a Dun Dun shirt. Dagda, it seems as important as this last week of LEC. And now I'm jealous.
Same. I want a Dun Dun jersey.
Bro, I bet you everyone's sitting at home watching going, well, actually, that's really cool. That's like being a fan of the Shy before he was, world champion.
Yeah.
If I had the Shy jersey from, like, his days as a WE streamer, now that would be cool.
I would have been more impressed that you managed to get a jersey with the Shy from WE streaming. Not even on the team, just as a streamer.
Just as a streamer. I really like this streamer. We'll bring you into the game. SK versus KC. Remember, the implications are that SK are still striving for first position. They're still trying to get to the top of the ladder. They're currently tied right now with BDS. I know Fnatic are shortly behind them as well. Taking the loss today changed up a lot of things as well. But KC looking to climb themselves up as much as possible. If they could finish at 4 or 5 wins, it'd be a completely different dynamic.
Yeah, especially... I think you kind of alluded to it already. The big standout performance has been Rahel and Luon, and they're kind of able to sneak that win against BDS away because of the great Alistair setup that he had at that Baron pit. So with that win, and now losing to Fnatic, if they can kind of take that step further, win these next 2 games, they'll be able to put themselves up into that first place. So just with the head-to-head, so SK definitely on a good track to try and set themselves up nicely.
Oh,
Upset.
tries to think about the bush. He does indeed. Rahel and Luon going to come on out now, but nothing to be done apart from clearing the wave, getting a small trade. Targa's going to auto-attack for that reset and get a little bit of gold for himself as well. Has to wait for the mount on. As Dagda said, things have changed since we last seen Yuumi. Maybe not for the better, as that ulti seems a little bit more balanced now. A lot slower, Dagda. A hell of a lot slower.
Oh, good ebb and flow from Luon, though.
Yeah.
You can see a really nice trade. So ends up getting hit onto Rahel, then upset and back to heal Luon. So this is now heavily SK winning on this bottom side. They've even got the wave in their favor. So upset and Targamas will have to give space here, just so that then that bubble doesn't come through. But yeah, you can see there, it's second AD2, Targamas is out.
Tries to get that Radiant Light in range. Still, as Dagda said, the advantage is there. Remember, SK, these lanes are so important, as even Nisqy walking up to try and zone out and take away some of the camps. Gets poked out by Vladi, but Azir damaged this early. Doesn't mean too much, as I think Nisqy was able to get away a small Raptor at the very least. Maybe something.
Yeah, I don't think it'll amount to a huge amount, just trying to slow and interrupt closer as much as possible, because you see Isma moving down towards this bottom side as well. So they will end up meeting each other, but with Rahel and Luon having push, I think they'll be able to support for this Scuttle Crab take on bottom side.
Meanwhile, Close is actually in comms. He took my Raptor. He took my small Raptor. Dagda, we know junglers, okay? Jungle roll. Isma's looking for the invade. It's going to be smite down, as Closer might end up losing Gromp for this as well. Isma has his own smite. They're an even turf at level 3, and they're kind of just fading around the idea of starting this up.
Yeah, they have the push on bot side, so Luon is going to come across here to help. Rahel needs to crash this wave, though.
Invaded in, flashes away. Aqua Prison on the return. It's only on to upset here, so it won't amount to much, as Targamas gets his shield and moves back in. So you get flash out of Luon and heal. Not a win for SK.
Now, you lose a couple of CS under tower for KC, but you're relatively happy with that. Rahel going to get his back interrupted too, means he can't reset and pick up some early long swords for himself as well. So KC going to be pretty happy with the way that one turned out. Rahel just hadn't crashed the wave in time for Isma to really set up for the play.
Straight from Nisqy as we pan towards mid. Just a standard trade for the Taliyah is irrelevant. It's a ward here. Canna might be taking a pretty bad one at that. But, you know, Irrelevant this split, it's been something I've been pondering. I think we're talking about it this week, Dagda. I was like, I'm not sure what Irrelevant's role is. Is it changed? Is it different? Like, in previous splits, we're like, man, Irrelevant's top 3 top laner. And I'm on this weird impasse of like, bot is showing up so big that maybe I'm just not looking at Irrelevant as much
But I think
anymore.
it's who's getting the resources is the
That's
real
another
answer,
good point.
right? Because when we look back at Irrelevant over the last couple of splits, it has very much been him who's getting the help from Isma, going for the dives on top side, even getting Nisqy roaming up to make sure he can be on these carries. But now with Rahel and Luon entering the team and looking damn good, as we say.
Prison there, Ignite comes down, it's cleansed away immediately because Upset's in danger. Bit of healing comes through from Targamas. He only has his summoner heal left, by the way, too, as that was a summoner trait.
But this is why. If you can give these resources to the SK bot lane, they're going to make plays like this.
Gary.
They're going to set themselves up for success. So already we're seeing Isma trying to make his move down into this bottom side. Sure, it costs a couple of summoner spells, but this is the new SK look, and it looks fantastic.
Well, they're going to get their base timing as well with the push in for now. Jungle hasn't really been spotted anywhere apart from that invade bot that we saw a couple of minutes ago. Isma's just clearing out his jungle. Nisqy's pushing his wave. Closer is also on a ward as this dins out, which is another great ward. It is spotted by KC, so they know they're giving the information over. But regardless, SK have had good tracking of him for this early game so far.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see too much action over the next, like, say, minute and a half or so. Because realistically, Nisqy's going to reset. You're going to look for Dragon as SK. Chances are, Nisqy's going to try and hit 6 off mid-wave first, and then you can try and use that wall if you need to fish for that play. But I think it's going to be a case of waiting then until we see Nisqy making a play bot side, where you use that wall after Dragon's been taken to try and look for a dive with Isma having hit 6 as well.
Because I was going to mention, it feels like 6 is a big turn-on point for this.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, don't listen to what I said there. I know that sounds a little bit sus how I said it, but it is a turn-on point. You know, it must be said. SK, as soon as they hit those numbers, which Nisqy's there first, and Dagda has to stop laughing as now we go over the wall. Luon might be caught on out. The heal can come through, but it's not going to be enough. Upset has a kill. He has first blood. Caught with their pants down. Rahel and Luon in a bit of trouble with the flash being matched as well. Rahel now out of his flash summoner. SK's bottom lane not getting attention. Closer getting there first. That's a big win.
And this is why I was talking about, I like Closer on these more aggressive early game junglers, because he realizes, hey, look, SK are probably going to go for this bot side play. If I can get in and disrupt that before you can get the Maokai into position for Nisqy at 6.
He tried to make the roam. He spotted out. He tries to go the other way. Now flashes over to the enemy side of the campus. All right, out with a wall. Good surf and turf there as Nisqy returns to mid lane and gets his shove out, but he had to burn flash too in SK's early game. been turned on his head a little bit. At least Isma getting the grubs as compensation.
Yeah, but you're losing control over so much. Like, SK would have liked to use these proactive tools to try and make plays, but Closer steps in ahead of them, gets the play on bot side. Then you have Isma go, right, well, realistically, I have to try and take some sort of play on top side, which is grubs, which only opens up KC to invade onto Nisqy and get the play as well. So really nice stuff from KC to set up. It has moved from Mad Lions, though.
I was going to say, at least it's not the Mad Lions logo anymore. It was everyone was watching getting tilted. Him just spamming it on repeat.
I actually noticed it. I think he changed it in the Mad Lions game.
Oh, did he?
Where if SK beat them, he actually just was like, you know what, lads? It's over.
Do you reckon he got
this is my team, and this is the crew.
And was like, please stop it. Ignite comes down, by the way, in the bot side in the meanwhile. Level 6 just picked up by Rahel, but Upset is out of there, thankfully. That means he will survive the trade. But yeah, like, now it's just a thumbs up. And it could be like a nervous tick thing. Like, you know, I've heard from Eragon that Renekton mains just press Q off cooldown sometimes because it's a nervous tick, or it's like a, you know, keep, what do you call it? Keep warmed up.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I think he spams the emote for that. So at least now it's a thumbs up. It makes things seem okay, quite literally, in the emote form. As Rahel and Luon push up to this bottom wave. They're going to get themselves a plate in the meantime. Upset and Targamas are down, or rather they were down a bit of gold before, but thanks to the kill, going even in this early lane.
Again, a lot of pressure on this Dragon. As KC going to try and push this one out. Closer is an area to try and help them push that because they know the Maokai should be around here and level 6. Just going to clear the wards, so push this wave and then go to Dragon could be the option, but you're still a little bit nervous because level 6 for Maokai is so powerful and even... Oh, Canna. Oh, level up crucial there.
I mean, it gives him a lot of HP, doesn't it? Irrelevant. Good spacing, though, after the last order to get hype up. Canna's going to have to back away. He's got no TP, so at least at the cost of the Dragon, SK getting a lot in that top lane.
But this is dangerous now for KC because you could actually push in top wave as a relevant reset and TP now into this fight. Isma about to figure out that Closer's on the objective.
Trying to bait them in, delay the Dragon. There's that nervous tick again, and as Isma at level 7 looks Tenacious Grasp with his lead, he thinks about it, pulls off, they play for the top lane instead. And you can see with 3 grubs already picked up, Irrelevant is whittling away the turret. 2 plates picked up here in the first 9 minutes of the game.
And even Nisqy stealing away camps from Closer as he does this. Not a particularly fast Dragon take either, so you're spending a lot of time here. So you're going to lose your Raptor camp on the top side and several of those plates. And then Irrelevant gets the TP back in. Canna going to try and stop him, which he will, but I don't think it's really going to matter. Irrelevant still gets the TP back top end.
It's such a rare pick, isn't it? I mean, you know, Canna's played Gnar. I know that's his classic back in the T1 days as well, even though it was an unfortunate roster. But, you know, Irrelevant's picked this up a couple of times already this split, but no one else globally, I think, is looking as much at Gnar. I feel like LEC would have one of the higher pick rates. And, you know, we've seen a lot of picks towards it. We've seen the Skarner handshake in the lane. We've seen even the Mordekaiser come through sometimes for the Cassante. Like, it is nice to see some champion diversity from Irrelevant in what seems to be a comfort pick.
But I would have liked to see it more champion diverse. Well, I say that he's played a different champion every game.
You just don't like Cassante.
Well, I was going to say, it hasn't worked well. Let's be real. This hasn't gone great for Canna. So it would have been nice to see something like a cannon, but Isma in trouble.
He is caught out again. Vladi with the scoop and boop. Dagda's coining. Gives Upset another kill. 2 here for the Zeri. And that's the second time that Azir shuffle has pulled out so much of SK.
Yeah, Isma been in awkward positions a couple of times. Like, he tried to invade onto the bottom side, but Rahel hadn't crashed the wave, burned summoner spells to the SK bot lane. Now getting caught in river, giving kills across to KC again, so definitely not going to be the best of positions, and Rahel and Luon not going to be very happy that now Upset has picked up 2 kills, because this has been the guy that when KC needed him stepped up, and he's going to do it again.
He shocks him, charges him, and now with the Yuumi stun about to be apparent, Luon and Rahel are in trouble. Both flashes burned, culling at point blank range. Upset with a 3rd kill. The strength of SK is getting absolutely yeeted by a cat.
SK, you were supposed to stop the cat. It was supposed to say, no, we're done with Yuumi, but instead, Upset and Targamas are going to pop off thanks to getting these early kills now. SK going to try and get themselves 6 of those Void Grubs to boot, but 3 kills now to Upset. Turret plates going across as well. This Zeri's going to be massive.
All I can think about while SK at least getting 6 grubs is the fact that Targamas, maybe an old chat, this game he just types in meow. That's it. That's all you have to do because Upset is going to carry this game alongside him. There's a 1k gold lead on a lane that really didn't expect to have it. Already more electricity added into the inventory first. Static Shift picked up.
I think the only saving grace for SK is coming back to what we talked about in draft, which is you just don't have great go buttons as KC, and Upset is relatively short range, so he's going to find it tough to push these advantages. But if you end up in these fights where, you know, you're setting up early for Dragon and SK have to play into you, that's where KC can find moments to try and set up the fights for Upset and in their favor.
As you said, those go buttons are, I know what you had a big concern with in draft, so I'll take note, especially since, you know, the Cassandre go button is always reliable, always in the hard engage. I'm looking at timers for the time being, nothing is up, and even though KC have a 600 gold lead, I think as we get to the mid game it'll be more apparent, and I think as well, people kind of forget, outside of the laning phase, like, it's not like Lucian Nami, it's not like a Kalista Renata, right? It's not like a Varus Ashe, where it's like, lane, lane, lane. Caitlyn, another great example. We know that 1-2 item Lucian Nami, they sit mid, they have wave control, and they burst the target down to give you options for your objectives coming up.
And especially when you're already getting Relevant doing a ton of work on this top side, this is now the scary point for KC. You need to find a way to shut down this Gnar, because if he's going to continue to take turrets, you rotate on bot, he's going to continue to put pressure, you got Rahel and Luon that are still able to play hyper-aggressive on mid-waves. Just getting access to the map as KC is going to become really, really difficult. So I want to see how they start to change this up, because even I think if you try and rotate Upset up there to try and match Irrelevant, it still puts you behind, because Rahel and Luon then just do what Irrelevant has been doing instead.
Gonna need a lot more. Dagda, this is a good time while everyone's resetting and heading towards Dragon to tell you my great idea for a skin on Ivan or Maokai, either of the trees. Team up with Marvel, make it Groot. Every time Ivan shoots out a root caller, I am Groot. That's all he says. You know, the
so
Rammus
instead of
effect.
the it's Groot.
Yeah. Exactly that. Who would Daisy be? The rat thing that's his friend.
Raccoon?
Yeah. Like a giant one or something. Or maybe the big Groot guy.
I do love the idea of the roles being reversed. Where a giant raccoon comes out.
Maybe he sends out a bigger Groot. He just sends out another version.
Oh, it's baby Groot in the big
Yeah,
Groot.
the big one.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Now, right,
Does he just hop around in a pot? You know, when he was
maybe
first?
he can be in a pot and he just jumps.
Okay, nice.
And his back animation is him dancing at the start of the second movie. Now, right, if you're listening, my great idea, I want 30%. Or 20.
That's not how you get that skin.
I thought saying it on a professional broadcast would be
you got to do the
start.
flowers route, which is just keep repeating it over and over again, and then eventually you'll get to introduce it.
All right, well, we'll get there eventually, hopefully. Rahel and Luon have moved to the mid lane in the meanwhile. Look at the Baron. It's now coming up, Miniature Baron, also known as Shelly. I see Dragon as well, second one that spawning on the bottom side, but SK's priority is top. Closer is here, though.
He's still got Irrelevant, he's going to have priority, as you say, to move across. Nisqy's TP to get here. Wall is huge. Oh, it's on cooldown because of TP, sorry.
Okay. They commit the TP, though, and KC are like, nah, forget it. Teleport burn, that's summon up, we're going to go mid.
Wait, Nisqy did use it. Did he use them?
How did he?
I don't know if he was trying to interrupt Vladi's TP. Maybe thinking, hey, I'll use the wall as ITP to knock Vladi so he can't follow, but yeah, not sure.
Was it him last week that interrupted a castle assault?
Don't think so.
No.
Maybe
it
I'm
was
wrong.
Nuke. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might have been Nuke.
But either way, they get the Rift Herald, and either way, it's in the mid lane. With a lot of members of SK here, because KC moved down to try and take the Dragon, which means they're going to lose this mid tower. They lost top.
Yeah.
And they will be able to answer, at least with the bottom tower, it looks like, with Vladi down there, but SK very much controlling the pace of this game.
They really are. It's a bit of a turnaround from the early blunders where Upset got so many resources, but I mean, they are still chilling. It's not like the game is running out of their favor just yet. They've got 2 dragons, maybe to stall it out a little bit longer. Dagda, my concern is always grubs. We've realized grub meta is truly
Alive
here.
and well.
Yeah. And, you know, with things that play sidelines, with things like Gnar as well, Trinity Force picked up. He's a pretty good turret pusher. He's pretty quick, and with 6 grubs, it just makes it that much easier.
But again, it's, you know, KC are coming to a fight of Rift Herald. No one can find a route in, so they end up just saying, oh, cool, well, we got to back away.
Yep.
They don't go to Dragon because they know that they have positional advantage there, but then SK just go in mid lane, and you can see how aggressive they're playing in the tower, because again, you don't have that engagement. You don't have someone who's able to say, oh, like Rahel here, it's fine, Luon will have to flash, because Vladi is the only person that has any sort of big tool that they can use to engage.
Vladi has been everywhere. Like, he's in the right place at the right time consistently. This is clean Azir play, where it might not be flashy all the time, but he either threatens the engage or he finds it in some of the picks to set up for Upset. And he's definitely been the more influential mid laner. It's strange to see because I think Nisqy has been probably my favorite mid laner so far. That's not just because we got him on cast, but...
Was it because he, you know, slagged Eragon?
No, sorry, that was why. And it wasn't because I just keep watching him play Chain together and like speed running it after a week of it being out. Canna missing the flip back there. That's unfortunate. Relevant's got back up here. SK are looking for the dive, and Canna knows it. I think he's just been left on his lonesome. Closer even has to abandon his own jungle.
But SK just pushing everyone out again. They know that they don't have to worry about KC really being able to start a fight, so they play aggressive, they get blue buff, they're playing well off of Rahel and Luon having control over mid lane, and now TP from Relevant to meet the top tower, so Vladi can't do anything.
That's major efficiency. He gets the localized gold, gets the wave topside. My man is choving at 190 CS at 17 minutes in the game. Helps when you have a tank matchup, but 1500 up in this said matchup. I mean, Irrelevant is going to be so hard to deal with. I feel like when he goes back, Dagda, there's going to be some serious components as well. He's got to be close to his second item.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he should have a second item, right?
Outright?
Just shy. But still, you're going to send him now into this bottom side. He's going to get to threaten onto a tier 2. Dragon up in 2.5 minutes, so you just continue to, have that pressure. Nisqy takes top side because he has the teleport. And SK just continue to play out their game, but through these side lanes and off that pressure Rahel has in the mid lane.
Pushing, you see the movement comes through. Rahel thinking about it. Luon moves to Fog of War, and another thing we got to mention about SK is they're controlling vision in the river quite well for now. Closer and Vladi have to move as a pair to try and get some themselves, and Closer even walking over the ward. He's spotted going over. Luon just gets out of there and they retreat. The push and pull comes through, and looks like they'll just be waiting for the timers that come up in 2 minutes, so we might chill for a bit, Dagda. Just hang out to see how we get the next setup.
Isma and Luon are kind of working together to get that vision because they know Luon has no flash, so kind of using Isma as that big checker to see what's happening.
Checker,
yeah.
Nice. TP, that minion, by the way, that's the one. The all-in's there. Nisqy flashes away this time. Vladi can't find him, but he's taking up the turret! Boy, almost. That was close. Thank you very much for Canna for helping get that push down. They find the turret, and Vladi is out of there safely.
But they've interrupted the resets because look at mid lane. Ooh. Everyone is barreling down that mid lane on SK to start taking these tier 2s. So yes, KC gets something, but again, the lack of CC coming back to bite them because SK get away, and now you trade an outer turret for an inner.
Macro Chai, a lot of gold for that inner turret as well, and SK, you look at the timing, might be able to get some vision here, reset to the dragon, and come out quite fresh. Even though Upset has 2 items, I mean, I see a Lucian Nami with 2 items as well. Especially with Imperial Mandate, there's a lot of burst damage that's going to start coming out.
And you just don't even have a huge amount of range on KC, so, you know, you just E forward as Lucian double tap, and you're like, cool, there's half your health gone, and no one's going to punish me.
That's a really good point. As you said, because of the engage,
yeah, you just...
I guess you get a little bit more flexibility, don't you? Unless you run into the Cassante W and takes you over the wall, I mean, that is something, but...
Yeah. But like, Rahel's just like,
look,
what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
You know, we've seen some of the best, like the Guma, the Elk, like these expert players on this 2v2 bot lane who can play and weave in and out of trades like that. It's
and sure,
nice to watch.
You'll take a little bit of poke as Rahel, but you've got Luon who's going to heal you back up, point in case. So you can just continue to play this very, very aggressive style. And unless you get like a flash Q3 from closer or Vladi going in for a flash, like he kind of needs to faker this, catch him with a predicted flash and set up for KC win.
It's been clean so far. We look at Vladi, we look at Upset who has the resources, and we look at this third dragon. KC would move to Soul Point, close towards the 4th win. Team who's setting their own record in their debut year, who finally made playoffs. To beat SK would be another one as Rahel takes the damage, but there's the Nature's Grasp, the Weaver's Wall on the back end as well. Closer out with his own ulti, dodges the damage. The Yuumi from the side is big, but Vladi is bigger! Separates them, tears them. The culling on the back end though is now what I'm looking at for the exhaust is massive. Rahel can't get the damage down, and he almost dies in the process. Isma now the trade is Upset. Is News, but against the wall, Irrelevant. It's mainly untouched. He hits, he flashes, he smacks, he rocks, and he rocks him down. Closest next on the ground, and that's the cat versus a dinosaur. You're going extinct.
An Irrelevant Chai is what SK are screaming from the back lines. And a monumental performance from the top laner in that fight. AC tried everything. Vladi, it was beautiful, but there's just nothing to stop SK.
I mean, the micro in this fight. I want to watch it again because it came down to the wire.
Yeah, and look, it's a great ult for Vladi. He doesn't He ends up getting popped the entire way into the pit thanks to the wall. Then sees his angle, flashes forward, but Rahel manages to get away, so he's getting a ton of damage off onto Vladi with Isma until he gets the help from Targamas. So Rahel does end up just barely escaping on the backside, but Irrelevant, he's untouched. He's got his Triforce, he's got his 2 items, and he is tearing through the members of KC, flashing forward here to get past Closer, to get the boulder, and then Isma just kind of cheering from the sidelines as he knows that Irrelevant's got this one.
It's crazy. I mean, Irrelevant saving his ulti for upset. As we look and, coaching staff ecstatic.
Except that one guy in the back.
who let Casey's coaching staff in their room?
Look, it's just another day at the office for him, isn't it? It's like, lads, can we go home now? We got dinner plans.
Must be cheering. It's nice to see, as I said, it wasn't questioning Irrelevant. I just felt like, again, the focus has been elsewhere. Early game, bot shy, not so much there. But top for Irrelevant. Now through the lane, now through the game. I mean, 3K gold lead. Irrelevant's the one in the next fight I'm going to watch again.
And you were questioning him, right? This is what happens when Irrelevant is able to go, right, I can either create my own resource or maybe get some of those resources from SK. He goes right back to being one of the best top laners that we have. And now, Vladi going to see what he can do. And
prove it. All outs there. Irrelevant away from his ulti, though. That's the problem. And the DPS, that shuts us up with a shutdown over to Vladi.
He was sleepy, okay? Doesn't count. He needed a little nap.
It's so weird because, like, I swear this year the caster curse has been, people go as a meme, it's overused, but it's really not. Should not have talked about Irrelevant. Maybe for KC fans, they find that okay. Upset with a 5th kill, by the way, but that was Vladi who finally picked up his burst and definitely needed getting close to this 3-item Azir.
Yeah, but again, you're kind of waiting. Oh,
on the Closer, that might be the focus. The seismic shove is there. Closer has his ulti though, and now that the Vanguard's out, Upset looking for the chase up. He ultis, but he doesn't connect, so he doesn't have it.
There's no CC?
No, there is absolutely no CC. So Nisqy is just running for his life, and he's out, by the way. SK trying to find him on the back end. Vladi is kited away from the bottom lane. They'll take that kill. That was smooth. If Michael Jackson was still alive, man, he'd gauge that moonwalk, because Canna is now in the middle of the whole SK lineup. And KC know they have to get out of there. They can't lose anymore, but Irrelevant will not stop. Even under turret, he throws a boulder Closer. Lucky to be alive with a cat in a book. Irrelevant still thinking about it off the side as Closer has to just run back to base.
That healing was clutch, but the Baron will be the prize for SK. KC tried desperately to make the TP play work, but it ends up backfiring as SK just turned it on their head.
Going to go down pretty quick as well. I mean, Rahel's damage, not to be frothed at as Irrelevant comes in to finish it off, and SK this mid-game has been beautiful to watch. Their Baron, their control, their 4K gold lead. The only thing they're going up against at this point is 2 dragons, and I don't think they care.
KC feel like they're just out of options. Again, then at 3 and 4, they are through, as they own the head-to-head against Rogue and Vitality, the only 2 teams sitting at 2 and 6 at the moment, but definitely not the manner that you want to enter in towards playoffs. It would have been nice to get a win over SK, or at least show that you can contest them, because if they hope to try and make it in towards the likes of Worlds and that, they really need to be able to hit that top 3 spot, but just not going to be where KC sit at the moment.
And I mean, I guess you can kind of question, we can go back and be like, with a proper engaged top, or maybe like an engaged tool, maybe this comp, this would be a really good start. Yeah. The fights would have gone a lot better. I mean, they're still fed, they've still got scaling, but as you said, it felt like the weak point here so far. And it does feel like maybe a dated composition as well, right? You could argue to a question like this feels like the start of the year.
It's hard to judge, right? Because it feels like KC haven't got a fair shake of things with the way the competition's gone. Because I mean, with Upset being as strong as he is, in theory, you should just be able to kick down the door of any team fight and just start blasting. But you just don't have that opportunity in these positions where, well, you can't catch SK. Rahel are playing very far forward again.
Thinking about it. At least he's going to go for the wave
now.
He
has flash, though.
Wait, this could be a pick. Rahel slowed down. Upset's going to ult on in. Rahel in no man's land, but the tidal wave saves it. The culling as well zones on out. He's thinking about going back in, but Vladi's damage can't be scoffed at. Isma flushed on in for that, but with the root down, will he die before he hits the ground? Nisqy on the left side as Rahel just sacrifices his own life. It ain't clean, but now here comes Mr. Mean. The Gnar on in. He's disengaged from saving Upset's life as Canna, but against the wall, I think he's doomed his own. Nisqy's here, a dodge from the seismic shove is great, and even the house, man, if I could dodge that like inflation, that'd be great, but Nisqy gets the kill in the end, and Irrelevant just can't die.
Irrelevance obscene in this game. Absolutely ripping through KC. Now Nisqy turning over towards the turrets as the rest of SK turn towards the dragons as well. They're just able to split themselves so well across the map at the moment. And there's nothing KC can do. They tried desperately to kill Rahel there.
That was a nice pick. I mean, after getting the W, upset all inning. He feels as confident, I guess, as Rahel does. But even after it got messy, as you said, it's still an SK win. Baron power play, thanks to Red Bull, still at about 3Ks. We look at the replay here again. Let's have a look at how close they came.
And Vladi has flash, which you can see there. He tries to get the scoot in over the wall, but just barely gets hit by the CC, so can't get over the wall. And then here wants to try and keep Isma to use the ultimate, which is then kind of the go button for Rahel here. He thinks maybe they can burst out Vladi just before the soldiers are able to come up, but not quite. But now you're in these tiny chokes for Irrelevant, which is just exactly where he wants to be. Following up, gets the stun, and they just have to chase them down. Clutch, cleanse, and also then the pull from Canna. Yes, Canna dies, but he honestly saved the rest of his team there.
You know what I like about Rahel is that he goes for it. It's kind of like what Upset's doing in this game. I know Upset's had some criticism, but in this game, he's going for it. He's got the Yuumi by his side, and he's like, man, Targamas, just press your buttons, bro, get the bell ready, and we're going. And it's been really nice to see the confidence coming through. Rahel's the same, where he runs in, he's like, I might die, but at least I get my damage down and secure a 1-for-1 trade. Like, that's what you want to see out of AD carries, especially in this league. No one hiding. No one being scared.
KC are very scared.
Well, I mean, they're scared in this game. That's the problem in this game, Dagda, is you're facing a 3.5 item Gnar in the side lane, while SK have got all waves in order. Look at the timing of the crash. It's not perfect, but 3 waves now under fire.
And this is kind of just what you get to do as SK. This is what we're talking about. Irrelevance so big that he can do what he wants. Nisqy's able to clear out waves. KC can't approach anyone because they don't really have the setup. And now you just get to play through all 3 winning lanes, and it's easy as you like for SK.
The AP conversion with Rabbit on death cap and 6 scrubs makes that Taliyah auto attacks on turret are like 1/10 of its HP. So, you know, even Nisqy can play the side lanes quite effectively. You know, this gold lead's only getting bigger and bigger, and for KC, it feels like we're going to be deciding this maybe over the next Baron, next Dragon, because at this point, SK have only got base turrets to go if they win another fight. 7-1. As we're talking about, you know, I think we're talking about through the week as well, Dagda. Like, we're looking at some of the greatest scores coming up that could be in this format, right? We've only been in this format for a couple of years, but like 7-1, 8-1 finish on the table is an absolute clutch start.
Especially when they have Vitality tomorrow. Now, Vitality obviously hoping that they can take the win over SK, but for a team that has struggled for a while to really hit that top end of the table, like, yes, we saw them in, you know, winter do relatively well, but it never really amounted to anything in playoffs.
True.
But this team really does look like it can take the distance. And I think a lot of SK fans are going to be waiting to see what that playoff run looks like, since that's kind of been where their hopes have fallen flat over the years.
A lot of SK fans want to know if this is the 3rd best team in Europe, right? It's being a toss-up there, a bit of a dark horse, as we've said. But everyone's like, oh, well, it's G2, Fnatic, BDS. Right now, we don't know for sure. I mean, SK are in the mix. That's a really big deal. There's other teams kind of trying to rise to the forefront, but it feels like this is a sad year. I'm just going to say this. I've been watching a lot of LPL, Dagda. The 4th seed of LPL is very in question, right? This feels like the year where, like, 4th seed to LEC, I'm just saying, it could look really good. It could look really good.
Come on, AL.
What would you rather, SK or AL? I'm going to be biased. Close, jumps in. Dude, Rahel ran into melee for that, but he's not punished. Dagda's composition point hits me in the head as Isma gets the same damage. He's burning down. He's almost shocked to death, but he has to flash away. So Isma can't finish the deal off. Closer gets a little bit low. Sun turret goes down, but look at what spawned. I'll give you 2 hints. It's purple, it's big, it looks like something out of Elden Ring, and SK going right towards it.
Yeah, and Isma has Warmogs, so he's kind of healthy again. So everything that KC done has just been undone, and now Isma wants to see if he can get in on the flank. So that's that twisted advance to start locking up members. But Irrelevant doesn't have that ult available.
Seismic shove's great. Vladi gets out of there. Quick smart, though. Again, the poke comes through. You know what KC don't have? Warmogs of their own. So mid-wave gets pushed in, and here we go. The threat begins.
Yeah, they will be spotted here. As you can see, that ward that Isma just hit will spot out that they're on it, but I don't really know if you can stop it in Irrelevant. Now he's starting to stack up his
great Weaver's
Gnar,
wall.
yeah.
Amazing Weaver's wall. KC have to wait it out. Burst down the Baron, they say.
Yeah, but it's still going to be close.
Yeah. Ooh, let's not flip it. Let's not flip it.
We're flipping.
Let's not flip it. Whoa, he flashes close. It's going to flip. Almost. His flash already burnt to get out of the seismic shove, but he can't hit the blast cone. I'll call that a flip, Dagda, but I'll call it a calculated flip.
Yeah, that was like a bottle throw that you've already like, you've got a machine doing, we've already had it in all the calculations.
The landing,
you know?
right, yeah.
But
that's cheating.
But now SK, like, push on top now, again, pulls KC back. With Dragon about to spawn, it's going to be 3 Dragons now for SK, but realistically, I think the Baron is the only thing that they really needed. You can already see just how far back KC are pushing the map, and you're just looking to take the base here as SK.
Move yourself to self point at the very regardless. I mean, everything's lining up. 8k gold lead, SK. It's really nice to see a pivot. I think the biggest thing that shows me this is a top team is that early game, the bot, which is their normal strength, they were able to pivot off it losing so easily, right? Top was going well, okay. What does Isma do? Well, he tries hover around, he keeps playing for grubs, he swaps sides of the map, and then Rahel and Luon are able to bounce back, and they've got really good mid-pressure. That's what excites me about SK Dagda, as they push on in, and Irrelevant just smacks an inhibitor. Bottom wave, Baron's coming in. It's 2 lanes, there you go, Upset gets culling!
Oh my god!
Cleanse, flash, heal! Bro just had to deal playing, I don't know, Time Warp. What's that game called?
Time Split? No, Time Crisis.
Time Crisis.
Yes.
Time Warp is the dance. And I don't think
they are definitely dancing.
KC have to get their way out of there. Once again, Tidal Wave is the bounce house and closer. Doesn't want to be anywhere near it. Canna tries to separate, but Irrelevant's about to go Mega Gnar, and you do not want to be near Dinosaur Man. Again, he ults before getting ulted himself. It's nice from Vladi, but there's no follow-up. Everyone's dead. And SK now, there's only one thing left to do.
And that is to take down Upset as they will chase down Nisqy.
Hey, he can try, he really could, but Irrelevant's way too strong.
Kill the cat!
Yeah!
Kill the cat!
Ever again, we all hate Yuumi. And as it drops into the dirt, SK are making a strong case for best team in the league, or at least upper echelon.
They want to take that #1 spot. And with just kind of dismantling KC, now they got to try and do the same against Vitality tomorrow. But that was a little bit of a rough early game that turned into a very confident mid game for SK.
And I mean, look, we already know their top 4. It's just about how high they can soar. Their regular season left down to 1 game. KC already in playoffs, as we said before, but SK making sure they're at least not going to end this Saturday on a win. You can vote for your key player of the game at LEC on X. Irrelevant, Isma, Luon. Bro, Luon gets it. Doesn't Luon get it every week? Give it to Irrelevant. Give it to Irrelevant. Come on, Irrelevant. But
this game was definitely Irrelevant.
I see that Irrelevant is on desk, and if you put on next to Irrelevant, you get Irrelevant on desk after break. No, there's a space there. I liked it before. See you after Irrelevant on.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Laure!
Hey, shouldn't you be on stage right now?
Hey, you got a pick. Tom Kent? What? I was not expecting this.
And a crazy off-meta pick that secured you the win. How did you come up with it?
Oh. I just listened to my gut.